Little Sunday sit down. We'll call them Sunday sermons. Something that whenever I have something I kind of want to get off my chest, I like to sit down with you guys and talk to you a little bit about how I'm feeling. We get this heart to heart. So I switched the lens on my Panasonic back to what we had, which is a little bit closer up, because it doesn't make me look as skinny. I'm tired of reading these "Steve's looking skinny" comments. I'm actually a little bit lighter, which is actually part of the reason we're gonna talk to you guys today. Because what we're gonna talk about is something that's been on my mind for a minute. Something that a lot of times I need to tell myself. I need to tell that person in the mirror what I'm telling you guys. So thought about it, just got done lifting, and I was like, you know what? I need to go have a little heart to heart with the YouTube world. And I think if we call this video anything, we'll call it, what is your why? What is your why? Because the harsh reality of it is so many people out there, a lot of people watching this video, will never succeed at living their dream life. And this is kind of sprung by, I get a lot of DMs from people saying, Steve, I want to do what you do. I want to be a Gymshark athlete. I want to travel the world. And sometimes I feel like I go through the motions and I take this for granted. At the same time, I tell those people, like this week I was telling a guy, what's your vision? You can't live my life. This life that I've created, I've had the ups and downs, the vision that I've had to hold on to. And the times that I've succeeded, it's because I've had a clear-cut goal and worked like hell. The times that I failed, it's because I haven't been. And right now, kind of the last couple months, I feel like, I'm just kind of floating along. And why is that? It's for the same reason that most people out there are floating along, and most people never actually get out of this just floating along process. And it's kind of like we get into our car, and we don't just get into our car. We're lucky in this day and age we have cell phones, because we get into our car. What do we do if we're in a city that we don't know? If we don't know how to get somewhere, we put it into our GPS. You put it into Google Maps, and you get there. But if I want to get to that mountain over there and I don't have a GPS, what happens is I just I think I'm heading in the right direction, or even worse, if there's not a mountain, but I know I want to get over there to this building 5 miles across from town and there's no landmarks that really distinguish anything. How do I know I'm not just getting further away? Where's your compass at? Where's your GPS at? And that's very similar to a lot of what I see in my life sometimes, and then also when people talk to me about these things. You don't have a GPS. You don't have a clear-cut vision as to what you want. That right there is probably more important than discipline, is more important than your character, is more important than, those other things will keep you going. But you can't even get started. You can't even get started unless you know where you want to be and how to get there. So what it is that you want to do and why do you want to do it? Because this right here, the what and the why, that will be the base of everything else you do. So I see so many kids in this day and age, so many people, not just kids, people in general that want these things, but they're not willing to even sit down on paper and create a crystal clear, laser-like focus to get there. Which is what I told this person who DM'd me this week. Steve, I want to be like you. Well, no. It's fine to have similar goals. Like, you want to be a sponsored athlete, you want to start a YouTube channel, you want to have a gym. Pick one. Pick one. Because it's very easy to have 5 different goals and then you can't focus on one. Pick one. Sit down on paper. What is it? List it out. What do you want? And when do you want it? And how you're going to get there. Work back from that. Having that clear-cut vision. Why are you failing right now? Because your vision isn't clear enough, or your why isn't great enough. If your why is great enough, you don't ever quit. Most of the people, I would say over 90% of the people watching this video right now learned how to ride a bike. When you were a kid and everyone else was starting to ride a bike, your older brothers and sisters knew how to ride a bike, your family was taking off on their bike ride, or your neighbor friend was riding his bike, your one goal was to ride that bike without help. without your parents, without, the training wheels. You wanted to ride that bike. It was the most important thing in your life. And you didn't stop until you got there. Now, there were definitely probably some bumps and bruises along the way. You thought you had it and then boom, you crashed. But your vision of you on that bike was strong enough that you kept going, kept moving forward, and you ended up riding that bike. That clear, if you can, you will never achieve anything in your life that you can't first imagine up here. You create it first up here, and then you create it in the actual physical space. So let's talk a little bit about how do you get there? I want these things, but start with setting a limit. I will have this vision done in a month, in a week, depending on how many hours of the day you give to it. Open up your notebook. Start with a concept map or just listing things out that are important to you. Your moral compass, what you want in life. This can be very broad stuff, and then we'll funnel it down. You'll funnel it down, and then you can pick that one thing. Right now, that one thing for me is I want to create a supplement line that's different. I've been for 7 years with this massive company that traveled around the world, and I had gotten so many opportunities to see the ins and outs of it, but I didn't like how a lot of things run. I didn't like that they took advantage of didn't pay athletes. I want to be able to help personal trainers out there. I want to give people the opportunity to also make a living, make a career of personal training and including ourselves into that. I want to make good supplements too. So I'm trying to manufacture with the right people. And it's been long, it's been a hard process, but my vision hasn't been clear enough. So that's my example. That's what I'm focusing on right now. After that, there is no after that. That's what I'm focusing on right now. And that's why, for me, I want to have a camera guy because I want to document all of this. I don't want to spend the time editing the videos. That's not my strong suit. Identify your strong suits. And sometimes your purpose in life might not be, exactly what you want. If your purpose in life is to run the 100-meter dash, we talked about this before, in 10.5 seconds, you might not physically be capable of doing that. So what are the gifts that you've been given? But guess what? Even if your purpose in life is to help others run super fast, you don't need to necessarily be the fastest man in the world to do that. Which actually also brings me, if you want to get on that expressway, that freeway that's going to get you to your goal faster, once you've defined it, once you have a clear-cut vision, have an attitude of gratitude. Be a person that wants to help other people succeed. Be a person that is grateful. There's been, getting back to the supplement stuff, you can be bitter about things, or you can just be grateful for the opportunity. You don't want to have regrets. You don't want to have, putting the blame on other people, because it's easy to do in life. But once you start doing that, it's easier to do that over and over and over again, and you don't actually take control. So take control of your life. Have an attitude of gratitude for everything that you've been given in this world. Because it's really easy in this day and age to look at Instagram and all these other things. We don't want to do that. We have gratitude for what we've been given, for the opportunities that we've been given. That's the number one step in getting in that fast track lane to success. Everything else, discipline's important, because once you define that thing that you want, that vision that you have, and it's crystal clear to you, you have that laser-like focus. You have to also envision the hiccups, the speed bumps, because inevitably we all fail. Most people, when they fail, it's too tough. I don't really want to ride that bike that bad. If they did, you'd get back on and you'd do it and do it again. And that's why your why has to be so important. Your why has to be so important. So that's what I want to focus on this week with everyone, this month. Tag me, write it down. What is your why? Show it to me. Steve, this is my why. Make it something you carry around in your back pocket. You can rattle it off if someone asks you, why are you doing that thing? Why do you want that thing? Why are you starting that company? After that, then we focus on, along with our attitude of gratitude, discipline, habits. We've talked about habits before. The best way to ensure that you have the discipline that you are going to need to succeed is by creating good habits. creating a schedule, showing up on time for things. These are things that I've been bad at. I've been so used to people showing up on my time that I say, I could be late for this. That's disrespectful. And it shows a lack of discipline, a lack of creating good habits, a lack of the fact that, I'm not creating these habits that put me in the position to get as much as I can get done in a day. So create good habits. And habits, what we've talked about, the difference between habits is they don't take self-control anymore. You don't have to think about brushing your teeth, hopefully. Hopefully, you were taught as a kid, you just brush your teeth. So now you just do that. And you don't have to think, you don't have to force yourself at night to do that. So if you get in habits, non-negotiables of going to the gym, creating these habits, that is what's gonna keep you winning in the long run. Attitude of gratitude and creating good habits will then, really that's what self-discipline's about. You have enough self-discipline for other things. We don't suffer from mental fatigue from having to make every single little decision in our day. If you want, wear the same thing every day. Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs, these were people that, wore the same thing. Maybe it was Bill Gates, not Steve Jobs. I'm not sure on that, but I know Mark Zuckerberg wears the same thing every day, so he doesn't have to worry about making the decisions, because with each decision that we make, it chips away at, our decision fatigue. Later on in the day, throw up your hands, and that's why, most of the time, binge eating, most of the time, stuff that we don't want to have happen happens later on in the day because we don't have that self-control. We don't have any more muscle to flex. You can't push out that last rep in life, So have self-discipline, but you can't have self-discipline until you have that vision first. So I want you guys to all take that piece of paper out and start this week doing that. So, it's and that why is really reflective on what kind of character you have. That character of when things get tough, when everyone else is quitting, what's keeping you going? When everyone else, because guess what? There's always the handful of people in this world that live the life that they've imagined, and everyone else typically works for them. So don't be one of those people that, just gives up because it's too hard. Work your ass off. Be self-disciplined and create a clear-cut vision. Ride that freaking bike. Ride that bike into the sunset. And honestly, this is as much for me as it is for you. So thank you guys for watching this little Sunday sermon. Have an attitude of gratitude after you've created that clear-cut vision. Be self-disciplined through creating habits. Have a character that when everything else is going wrong, when there's setbacks and failures, you have the character that, there's gonna be things in life we can't control. But if we have a character that is, life is 10% of what happens to us and 90% of how we react to it. That attitude